Definitely her heart. Not even just everything she did with me, just everyone in the community. Like, she had a huge heart.
She wasn't a hero just for what happened yesterday. She was a hero because you see what she was doing on a daily basis.
Tonight, the city of Indianapolis and the state of Indiana saying goodbye to a hero.
We are remembering the life of IMPD officer, veteran, and mother, Breanne Leith, who was shot and killed in the line of duty yesterday. Late this afternoon, a lengthy procession for Officer Breanne Leith. IMPD and other first responders escorted Leith from the Marion County Coroner's Office to Crown Hill Cemetery. Leith was shot and killed while responding to a domestic violence call near 21st and Franklin on the east side yesterday. Officer Leith was just 24 years old. She was a mother and a veteran. And as RTV6's Megan Sanctorum found, the more people you speak with, the more you realize what a giving and caring person she was.
When you hear people in the community talk about Officer Breanne Leith, they talk about her heart. She was dedicated and determined to make this city a better place and leave a lasting impact on those she served.
We met her about 2.5 years ago. My kids met her at Firefighter for a Day camp.
Amber Harrison is just one of many lucky enough to meet Officer Breanne Leith, or Officer Bree as the kids called her.
My middle son, Frankie, actually gave them a piece of paper with my address on it and asked them to come over.
Harrison says she didn't expect the officers to keep that piece of paper, but they did. And a few days later, she woke up to a knock at the door.
And it was Officer Bree and another woman, and she had showed up with the basketball.
Harrison says that was 2018. She says Officer Leith took time to get to know her and learned she was a newly single mom and having a tough time. So ever since then, Leith and a few others made it a point to check in on the family, making sure they had supplies for school and even getting the kids a fish for Christmas.
When she showed up, you could tell this is where she wanted to be. She didn't do it because someone told her to. She did it because she wanted to be here. She wanted to make sure that my kids were okay and that I was okay.
And although Leith's time on the force was short, the impact she had on those she met will continue to live on.
Just to have my kids to be able to see that there are good police officers and there's good human beings and just people that truly care no matter what, no matter how poor you are, what color you are, just anything about you, it's really a blessing.
She says her son now hopes to follow in Officer Leith's footsteps and one day join IMPD himself.
She definitely was impactful in the community and in our lives, and I hope that her son and her family knows how blessed we truly are to meet her. Truly blessed to meet her.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
An official memorial fund has been established for fallen IMPD officer Breanne Leith. The fund will help with funeral arrangements and to establish a trust for her young son. If you want to help, we have a link to the site you'll need. It's up in this story and the IndyChannel.com.
Unfortunately, in Indianapolis, we have had to do this too many times.
A police department grieving tonight after losing one of their own. IMPD is asking the public to support our officers and come together in this difficult time. RTV6's Stephanie Wade shares their message tonight.
The head of the Fraternal Order of Police asking people tonight to rally together after losing a beloved officer. People posting all over social media, sharing their stories of Officer Leith doing good in the community.
She was the officer who she could take care of business if she needed to, but she also always made time to reach out specifically to young children.
An affinity for helping children. Breanne Leith, or Bree as her family says she's known by, also had a son of her own. Her fellow officers committed to never leave families of the fallen behind now includes Bree's son.
You don't have to worry about your children or your family. So we will thoroughly uphold that, and he will remain a part of this family. He just inherited thousands of mom and dads. So.
Her family says Bree had a lifelong desire to serve this community. She not only served with IMPD, but worked in the Marion County Sheriff's Office and was in the Army National Guard. Bree's sisters, mom, and dad all working in law enforcement too. Rick Snyder says she wasn't just a hero for what happened yesterday, but for what she did on a daily basis, fulfilling the image of what he calls a peace officer.
Officer Leith, she had a shorter career, but look at all the impact she made in just that time span. Imagine if she had 32 years of doing that.
A legacy she now leaves behind.
So when we say never forget, she will never be forgotten.
Working for you, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
And Snyder says since yesterday, Officer Leith has had an officer by her side the entire time. Overnight at the coroner's office at the funeral home, he says there will be an officer by her side until she is laid to rest.
IMPD has officially arrested a man in connection to the shooting death of Officer Leith. Metro Police tell us 27-year-old Elias Dorsey now faces preliminary charges of murder and attempted murder. Dorsey has no prior criminal record before yesterday's shooting. He was taken into custody after the shooting near 21st and Franklin. Officers were called to the apartment for that domestic disturbance. Police say as officers knocked on the door of the apartment, shots were fired through the structure, striking Officer Leith. A domestic violence survivor who has been at the other end of that desperate phone call says she's grateful to the officers and Officer Leith who risked their lives. RTV6's Kara Kenny joins us with what one survivor wants you to know and how you can help others. We want to warn you that some people may find the images in this story disturbing to see.
This is the heart of the 46201 zip code on the city's east side, where IMPD gets more domestic violence calls than any other part of the city. In light of the officer's death, their prevention efforts now take on new meaning. Renita Hills lives on Indy's east side, a high-risk area for domestic violence. She's a survivor of domestic abuse. These pictures, while difficult to see, show how she almost died as a result.
I know that feeling to be calling and needing help and hoping somebody comes in time.
Renita says she didn't realize she was being abused until it nearly killed her.
But a lot of times I hear, why don't they just leave? Why don't they just leave? People don't understand that it's a process. But for 15 years, the Renita I was being stripped away. I was told I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't smart enough. I was not good enough.
The city's Public Health and Safety Office does neighborhood canvassing in high-risk areas to reduce domestic violence, which can mean emotional, verbal, or even financial abuse.
A lot of people don't even understand that they're in a domestic violence situation because they're not being beat up. And so just trying to constantly keep that on people's minds and get that information out and let people know that there is help available and that we love them.
When people are stuck at home with financial worries amid COVID-19, that is making things especially tense. Calls to the state's domestic violence hotline are up 15%. Meanwhile, jails are releasing inmates.
So not as many arrests are being made. So that is keeping somebody in the household where more violence is continuing. So right now it's kind of a vicious cycle where violence is escalating even faster because we're not having even time to diffuse those situations.
Advocates with the city and the Coalition Against Domestic Violence say they can help victims get a safety plan in place or get to a safe location. Renita's organization, Voice of the Victim, helps survivors get the tools they need to survive, like financial planning and counseling.
The average person goes back to their abuser 7 times. 7 times. And any one of those 7 could be their last time leaving.
Domestic violence can happen to anyone. If you find yourself getting heated, take a break in another room or outside. Reporting in Indianapolis, Kara Kenny, RTV6.
And you can call the domestic violence hotline at this number. It's 1-800-332-7385. Again, that's 1-800-332-7385. There is much more about the life and legacy of Officer Breanne Leith right now on the RTV6 app and on our website, theindychannel.com. Moving to the other big story, one that we are all facing, the coronavirus pandemic now.
And new numbers in from the state show COVID-19 numbers are still growing. The Indiana State Department of Health reports 55 more coronavirus-related deaths in Indiana. That means 300 Hoosiers have died from COVID-19 since the pandemic began. The state also says there are 568 newly confirmed coronavirus cases, bringing the statewide total to 6,907. That's a bit of a spike in cases. The previous 2 days, there were 423 and 427 new cases, and more than 35,000 people have been tested for COVID-19.
And tonight we are now learning 24 residents of the Bethany Point long-term care facility in Madison County have died. Indiana State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Bach says 16 of those residents had tested positive for COVID-19, and the 8 others had symptoms compatible with the virus.
A local COVID-19 survivor has donated blood, hoping her antibody-filled plasma can help seriously ill COVID-19 patients. And according to the Versity Blood Center, she is the first patient to be able to make a donation like this. Megan Sanctorum shares her story.
Donating blood is nothing new for Sarah Dilley. She works in the medical field as a gynecologic oncologist. She knows blood donations can help save lives.
I've donated blood before, yeah.
But today's donation is the first of its kind at Versity Blood Center on Meridian. Dilley recently recovered from COVID-19.
I had a really low-grade fever, a really mild cough, and I lost my sense of smell completely. But other than that, and I was really tired for about a week, but otherwise my symptoms were really mild.
But since she works in healthcare, she was able to receive a test from Lily a few weeks ago. She has since fully recovered. Now she's hoping her plasma can go to somebody in the hospital currently battling COVID-19.
My body's created antibodies to the COVID virus, and since we don't have a medication that's directed directly against this virus, and since we don't have a vaccine yet, the antibodies from my plasma should be able to help another patient fight off the virus.
Leaders at Versity say it takes some time for the donation to process, but her donation today should be in the hands of doctors at a local hospital by Saturday.
The donation can go for several patients, and they can donate again, and they can donate a number of times.
They say in the past, donations like this have helped patients suffering from things like Ebola and the flu. They're hoping for a similar outcome with COVID-19.
Especially for patients who are critically ill, I think this is going to be really, really important.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
The Versity Blood Center is looking for more donors. They're asking anyone who has tested positive for COVID-19 and since been symptoms-free for at least 2 weeks to contact them.
We've all felt it, boredom at home during the stay-at-home order. The doors are currently closed at the Indianapolis Public Library, but you can still take advantage of its services. Brad Brown shows us how and what's being offered.
And I'm Dave First. Coming up, an update on the Grace College soccer team running for relief of COVID-19. And boy, they just kept running and running and running. That story coming up in our Sports Extra Spotlight.
And we're settling into a cold pattern beyond the 7-day forecast, but Easter Sunday will be an exception. I'll have the details.
10% off your first lawn application.
It's a challenge, but we all have to make that social distancing sacrifice as we navigate this pandemic. Stuck at home, growing bored with the same apps and shows and trips to the fridge?
It's all too common, Mark. Tonight, RTV6's Brad Brown shows you the doors to the Indianapolis Public Library. Doors may be closed, but it's still open to you at home.
For so many of us, the Indianapolis Public Library is not only a place for education and information, but a gathering place. And while the library's buildings remain closed, the library is open in the digital realm. From new releases to the classics, cardholders can still check out material from home.
We've been building this for many years, and we have lots of resources and something for everybody to find immediately when they sign on. It's now becoming aware to people that we have all this. So we're getting lots of questions and lots of calls about it.
The options go way beyond just books. Car repair manuals and audiobooks are both very popular options. And with all of this extra time, you could learn some extra skills.
Hobbies and crafts databases where you can download patterns and you can learn new skills. We have a universal class online where you can take a class and learn how to do advanced Excel to watercolor painting and, other arts and crafts.
There was also a wide-ranging video selection available, from the early days of Hollywood to foreign films and a long list of movies for the kids. Hundreds of hours of content to help pass the time.
I think that there are a lot of readers that are very happy right now. Those introverts that love to read have all the time on their hands to do this and catch up with their stack of books on their nightstand. But then it's also great for people who, have been so busy in their lives, they don't have time to read. Now is a great time for them to, pick up some of those titles and get back into the habit of reading.
The library does have staff working to help answer questions you might have about card renewal or any other customer service issues. You can reach them by calling during regular business hours. That number is 317-275-4184. They also have their Ask a Librarian text line. That number is 317-333-6877. And much of that information is also available online. You can find it at their website at ndpl.org. Working for you, Brad Brown, RTV6.
And thank you, Brad. I'll open the book and turn the pages on your Easter weekend forecast. The first chapter is about frost. Our temperatures right now, they're in the 40s. We hit 50. We'll take it. It's well below average for this time of year. 51 in Fishers. As you look at statewide temperatures, coolest in the northeast, warmer to the southwest. Remember when I said Easter Sunday would be the exception to the colder pattern? Actually, both Saturday and Sunday will be exceptions. Our next chance of rain tomorrow evening. I'm not still convinced how widespread that will be, but forecast models bring that back in about 6 or 7 tomorrow evening. Not this evening. Skies will clear. Temperature will fall into the lower 40s by 10 o'clock. Our sunset at 8:20. It should be a good-looking sunset. As far as morning low temperatures, we were at 31 this morning. Tomorrow morning, because the wind will be calm, I think we'll have evidence of that frost across all of central Indiana, and we'll repeat temperatures like that many times next week. Planner for tomorrow. Clouds will increase in the afternoon. Temperatures move from the 30s to 60 for the afternoon high. You'll also notice that winds start to increase out of the southwest, a warmer direction. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, still dry, but quickly from the west-southwest, you see the line of showers that develop, maybe a rumble of thunder in there. That drifts a little bit to the north and east by the time we get to 10 o'clock and sets the stage then for second half of the weekend, where I think we'll have more rain and more of a thunderstorm threat. Your Easter Sunday forecast, some showers possible in the morning. Will warm to 61 for the afternoon high temperature. Our possibility of showers and thunderstorms increases through the day, with a few severe storms potentially, especially in the southern portion of the state. Here's your 7-day planner over the next 7 days. Temperatures consistently cool Monday through Friday of next week. That'll be something. If that actually happens and we go 5 straight days there without temperatures hitting 50, that's very unusual. We've got a temperature down to 28 in the morning. Some of you saw snow last night. We could see some snow showers again next Wednesday. From my house to your house, have a great weekend.
Hey, we'll take the sunshine we got today. Support for COVID-19 victims are coming from all over in the sports world,
including Grace College in northern Indiana. But for the soccer team, it's well beyond what they thought they could do.
Life on the run. We first brought you the inspiring story of how the Grace College soccer team was raising money for COVID-19 victims during a 48-hour run. Except they kept running after 48 hours and running.
Hey, like Forrest Gump, we're just going to keep on running.
It lasted an entire week.
Why don't you guys just keep going after this? Well, why stop now?
We thought people might just be bored of us at this point, blowing up their Instagram feed.
It began with one of their own players. Back in Italy, the grandparents of senior Ivan Santagiuliana both losing their battles with coronavirus. So the run began as a simple gesture to raise money for a few around the world, all captured on the team's Instagram page.
Now we're just getting in the Goshen, 5 o'clock.
But
it seems all this was much deeper than just raising money. Is that correct?
The thing that I kept hearing from the guys was they were just so happy to be helping other people and running for other people. And then it really snowballed into inspiring other people.
My name is Oliver Patrick, and I'm going to run my first fast
that included Aaron's 5-year-old son, Oliver.
He raised $250 in that 9 minutes. People were donating specifically for him.
Checking in.
Donations coming here and there, and not just for running.
And then one of the donors just pops up and he goes, how much to shave your guys' heads? And we're like, what? Like, what? He goes, 500, both of you shave your head. We're like, all right, we're in.
A simple gesture with their players doing their part from around the world.
A beautiful night here in Auckland, New Zealand.
A week's worth of work, culminating with the big donation from the Dane and Mary Louise Miller Foundation, making the final total $20,000.
This really showed how invested we are in the community and how much the community cares about us and our program.
It all came together because of the negative situation with Ivan and the coronavirus. But this is a really tight group. It is the most special group I've ever been a part of. I love that they're a part of my family.
A team effort, perhaps unlike ever before. Day first, RTV6 Sports. Hey, we continue to honor the outgoing spring sport athletes whose season has come to an abrupt end at an RTV6 senior salute to Center Grove's Alex Heck. Alex was primed for a final run after already helping the school to a state championship, along with a couple of state runner-ups, 3 county titles, and 2 MIC championships. This fall, this Trojan becomes a Crusader, where he'll join the golf team at Valparaiso. Good luck, Alex. If you'd like to nominate a graduating spring sport athlete, email me at dave.first@wrtv.com.
Donation or volunteer today.
We want to thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news tonight.
Join us again for the news at 7. World News Tonight with David Muir is next.